the prayer group for One Montgomery this past weekend in my stomping grounds where I grew up in Boylston. And so thank you for all you do for our community.
You're so welcome. Let us pray. Our God and Father, as we come before you this morning, we come with thankful hearts. Thank you for the many blessings you bestowed upon us and how you've kept us and directed us. We pray you continue to just guide us in all directions. Have this commission come now and take care of the business and affairs of the county and other things that they're involved with. We ask you to give them intestinal fortitude to just look at these situations and circumstances and that the right thing be done. We pray that you continue to guide all of us and help us to learn to love each other, to dwell together in unity, because that's what you desire of all of us. Keep us and direct us and continue to bless this city, this county, this state, and this nation. For we ask it all in your son's name, and we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And thank you, sir.
Good morning. Thank you to Pastor Wagstaff for that prayer. Scheduled attendees for today's meeting: Sheriff Derek Cunningham, Director of Risk Management Melissa Peak, Senior IT Manager Rodney Smith, Probate Judge J.C. Love, Dr. Tania Stewart with the American Theater of Being. Items to be considered at the 10 o'clock meeting. Consider utilizing, item number 3, consider utilizing opioid settlement funds to upgrade and purchase automated external defibrillators for patrol vehicles. Item number 4, consider grant agreement between the Alabama Department of Youth Services and the Montgomery County Commission. Item number 5, consider origami software subscription renewal agreement. Item number 6, consider renewal of Blue Cross Blue Shield medical, dental, pharmacy benefit enrollment agreement. Item number 7, consider professional services agreement renewal with NavCare Incorporated for on-site inmate healthcare services. Item number 8, consider lighting services agreement with Alabama Power Company for Flatwood Storm Shelter. Item number 9, consider contract with the Jones Group, L.L.C. for governmental relations services. Item number 10, consider proposed 2026 legislative agenda item to provide for the expense allowance and salary of the Montgomery County Sheriff. Item number 11, consider proposed 2026 legislative agenda item to provide for the compensation of the judge of probate. Item number 12, consider update of Montgomery County Human Resources Rules, Policies, and Procedures. Item number 13, consider miscellaneous appropriations to agencies. Are there any additions? Item number 14, consider miscellaneous appropriations to education. There was one addition of $1,000 to South Lawn Elementary for Principal's Discretionary Fund from Commissioner Moore Ziegler. Are there any other additions? Item number 15, consider miscellaneous appropriations from designated revenue. Are there any additions? Item number 16, consider travel and training requests for appraisal, detention, district attorney, grants, probate, sheriffs, and tax and audit. All right. On our information session this morning, we have a waive rule item, item number 1. And with that, we will invite down the world's greatest sheriff, Sheriff Derek Cunningham, to talk about item number 1, which is to consider 2025-2026 Traffic Enforcement Grant Agreement.
I guess since the world's greatest sheriff couldn't be here today, you're going to step in. So thank you.
I see Doug thought I was going to say something. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Good, good. All right, I'm here.
Traffic Enforcement Grant Agreement.
Oh, that's same as usual. Just getting you all to approve it so we can go ahead and start doing it.
And it needs to be a waive rule
Because of deadline.
Is there any, have a motion to waive rules today for that?
I move we waive rules.
A second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Likewise opposed. Okay.
All right. Item number 2, consider agreements for housing juveniles at the Montgomery County Youth Facility for Autauga, Butler, Chilton, and Elmore counties.
Yeah, those are same as usual. I know we had a lot of them that wanted to request more beds, and we just don't have them.
How many beds do we have there? We got 30, how many beds?
50.
50, and
Yeah.
how many are
Rented.
coming in from outside of Montgomery County?
You got those contracts there from Butler, Lowndes, and I can't think of those, but those right there and out of our 50. So by the time we reserve them, those 2 beds, we still are left with about 30-something beds.
Yeah, so, because we normally have, what, about 30
Yeah.
juveniles in a particular time, I guess?
Oh, yeah, we're at 40-something.
40 some, it's
Yeah.
up than what it was.
Yeah.
All right, that'd be next agenda.
Thanks, Sheriff.
All right.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for the sheriff, if I may.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Since you're up there, Sheriff, thank you so much. The opioid funds that the sheriff department wants to use for the automatic,
AEDs.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
You say going to use some patrol cars, jail, medical facility. At least that's the information that I gathered from the information I read regarding the justification for use of the opioid funds.
Yes.
And so patrol cars, jail, medical facilities, substations in high drug trafficking areas. I wanted to know from your experience, from your deputies, is there an area in Montgomery County that has a high opioid use that you all encounter?
No, can't really say an area. Right now, when you start talking about opioid use, that's countywide. I mean, when you start looking at some of the overdose cases that we see, and I mean, you can go to all facets, from the richest of the richest to the poorest of the poorest, because now the use of prescription drugs are really up. And when you start looking at the number of our young people that are sharing medications and things of this nature, that's at an alarming rate. So we got to continue to have the proper education on them on how dangerous it is to share medication. And not only on that part, is that you got to realize some of the parents that have prescription drugs in their homes, and you got kids that are taking those. So the probability of somebody being exposed to opioids is all over. So you got to be alert, and you got to have Narcan. You got to have the things that we have readily accessible, because, as you all know, it takes a little while for the EMS to get there. And if you don't have something that at least that you can start trying to revive a person, you're really doing a disadvantage to the people out in the community. So, such as AEDs, Narcan, and things of this nature, we got to have them. We've had incidents where a deputy was there a long time before EMS even got in there, and they were able to at least hook up that AED and to get that person back breathing and at least get them transported to the hospital. We've had that happen several times. So they're using them, so it's a need as far as when you start looking at not only opioids, but when you start looking at just general medical runs.
And so up to this point, I don't think the commission has entertained any type of resolution or discussion on education and treatment, or rather education and prevention. So maybe you could help us develop something along those lines in terms of education and prevention.
Yeah, and that's some of the things that we're looking at too. Now when you go into the schools with our DARE officers and things of this nature, that's one of the things that the curriculum covers now, is the use of prescription meds and things of this nature. We got to start talking to our kids young, because everybody think it's cool when they get in college and you gotta binge study, and you can take one of these and it'll help you stay awake, or you can take a Red Bull and this. We got to start educating our kids younger on the dangers of them even thinking or considering using prescription drugs, mixing it with a Red Bull to be able to study longer and to be able to pass these tests. So that's some of the things we're putting into our curriculum. That's the way the curriculum are changing pretty much with DARE. But that's some of the messages that we send out when I go talk to students in high school, junior high school, or any of my staff, we make sure that we cover the education part on prescription drugs. And not only that, we got to do a better job with our parents, because I don't know how many of y'all got prescription drugs in your medicine cabinet, and we too lazy to take them and put them in that disposable box so we can destroy them. I mean, they say, well, it's out of date, and I ain't gonna take that, it's out of date. We need to get it out of our house. And so we gotta do a better job with educating the people here and letting our people that live in our communities know the way to dispose of unused medications is let us dispose of them, let us burn them, let us put them in that incinerator that we have to destroy them, but we can't keep them in our medicine cabinet because you're starting to see more of these resurface.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm looking forward to work with you and some of the other stakeholders to spend more of the money, the opioid settlement money, on
Be glad to.
prevention and
Yeah.
education. Or
Thank you.
education and prevention. Thanks, Sheriff.
Before you leave, Sheriff, I got a question. So you talked about educating. What do we need to do as the county commission to ensure that you have the proper funds so that you can educate those?
And that's why I come before you all on a lot of this stuff. And at the same time, anytime we have a venue or opportunity to be able to talk to people about the disposal of medication and things, I come to you all and say, hey, look, we're trying to print up these pamphlets. We're trying to do this. And it's not just law enforcement responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility, especially with you all. I mean, you got the media ear, you got the ear to the community. And when you're out talking, you all need to help us get that message out there, because this is something serious. I mean, I've seen incidents where people are being booked into our facility, into the jail, and you know, you book that person in, next minute they're in a crisis, the next minute we're doing Narcan. How many, you know, who would ever think that you're having to give a person Narcan and they're coming into the jail? But it's out there. I mean, and if we're not alert, if we're not paying attention to what's happening in our communities, I hate to see what it's going to be like. So it's very important that not just you all elected officials, all teachers, all medical staff, I mean, everybody needs to be talking the same language so that our younger generations will know, hey, look, we need to listen, because guess what? We're losing our young people at an alarming number to suicides and to accidental deaths from the use of illicit drugs and now prescription drugs. So we got to be mindful about that.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes. Hey, thank y'all.
Thank you, Sheriff. Next, Melissa Peak. Melissa Peak has items 3 and 4. Item number 3 is considered medical stop loss insurance renewal.
Good morning, Commissioners. I would like to start off with reintroducing Brent Cherry. He is our benefits consultant with Alliance Insurance Group. They have been working with us on our benefits program for many years now. They've been a trusted partner throughout this process. We are having to renew our stop-loss medical insurance with it being fiscal year end, and we have worked on the numbers diligently, and unfortunately, our stop-loss will be increasing by a fair amount, mainly because of some loss experience that we incurred last year, and that we expect to continue to incur because of some individuals on the plan that are in need of some significant treatment. Do you have any questions?
No, it's a pretty big jump. You had
Yes.
Alliance approached a total of 14 companies, and only 2 were willing, Brent, to even consider doing the stop loss for us.
Well, a lot of them may decline simply because they're not competitive. So we really only had 2 competitive quotes. A lot of times a stop loss carrier will decline to quote if they're not competitive with rates or some of the programs inside the policy.
So the one that you're proposing is Tokyo, is that how you, Marine?
Tokyo Marine.
Tokyo Marine?
They're probably the largest stop-loss carrier in the country.
Yeah, but it's about a 230,000 per year increase.
It is. But if you will look at our calculations within this summary, if we choose a plan that is cheaper in premium, our exposure to loss is going to be vastly more. So when we were running the numbers, which I've run it 3 different ways, and Brent has also done the analytics to this, which I included within this item submission. As far as the cost for the premium, the Tokyo Marine option 6, as I marked on the other pages, is the best plan considering what we would be reimbursed if these individuals continue to incur costs.
And when I looked, Brent, when I looked at this, most of them uncompetitive rates was the reason for the decline. You got 3 that said diverse large claims. Is that because of the
Yes.
claims we got here?
Yes.
And then we got one that said too many retirees.
That is an issue. There are quite a few insurance company or stop-loss companies that don't care to insure retirees. Yes, yes. And what we're planning to do in this next coming year, we're going to look at some programs, some more programs that may increase the service to our employees in general, but also may provide some other cost savings in other areas that might be able to offset this amount and our exposure going forward.
Any questions for
Yeah,
Melissa?
I was just curious, these exposures, they're strictly related to personnel that either work here or that used to work with the county?
They're dependents, actually, of personnel who currently work for the company. Well, one is a retiree and the other one is a current employee.
Can you give an example of just the type of catastrophic medical problems that we might be trying to cover without,
Yeah,
without being, you know,
prescription drugs has become extremely expensive. We're seeing some specialty drugs ranging to $30,000 to $50,000 a month in cost, just for a specialty medication. Now, this member would potentially need any kind of these drugs to, quite honestly, live a health, or be able to live, quite honestly. So these specialty drugs are extremely expensive. So, and it could be anywhere from cancer-type drugs to some kind of gene therapy-type drugs. I mean, they range the board on what they could be. But prescription drugs is one. I think any type of extended hospital stay certainly could be one as well, where you might have a premature baby or something along those lines that can be a high-dollar claimants. The stop loss is strictly addressing your high-dollar claimants and your reimbursements. I think we had received somewhere through maybe July almost $1.4 million in stop loss reimbursements back to the county. We've got a couple of members within the county that are projected to have high-dollar claims again next year, and that's where we're kind of taking on some additional risk with that. Within the policy that we are going toward with Tokyo Marine, we're going to have what's called a no new laser policy with a 50% rate cap. So in the future, we should be a little bit better off by having this provision within the policy that if another high-dollar claim were to come on during the next policy year, they couldn't be included as, we don't have to take on that additional risk going forward, and they can't give us more than a 50% rate cap. It would have been just great to have it this year, but we didn't have it in there. But going forward, we do have that in there to give us a little extra protection on any high-dollar claimants going forward.
Yeah. And that's why we're switching to this other company, because the Blue Cross plan that they have with Lloyd's does not offer those provisions.
thank you.
That would be, next agenda. Melissa, you got one more?
I do.
Item number 4, consider property casual and WC insurance renewal.
This one's a 6.8% renewal for the Stark Agency,
Yes.
and it's in the budget.
I would like to reintroduce Andy Flowers. He's the agency principal of Stark Agency. He and Bobby Barnes, who is in the audience, they worked very hard to put this together. The majority of this increase is actually coming from the liability excess line. What we're experiencing there is we're coming off of a 2-year rate freeze. And so they did increase the rate per 100 by about 30 cents. But also with our increase in payrolls and exposure, that's all factored into this overall rate increase.
Speak real quick to what, from both the previous item and this item, are included in the budget that we passed for this year. Because this is included, correct?
Yes, this is all included. I factored in, when we projected the figures, I factored in this, these increases.
Any other questions?
I was just wondering if are you still of the opinion that getting some of this coverage through the Alabama County Commission Association would be cost effective, or not just pooling our buying power with other counties? I believe you took the position that that would not be helpful.
There are several nuances to that program that may not be beneficial to us. If we were to join that program, we would be bound to that program for 3 years. So if we did join that program, we would have to wait 3 years before we exited. Also, they are experiencing the same increases that we are from an excess loss standpoint. While I don't know that they would even be willing to take on such a large risk, I have spoken with them just to get some market perspective previously. And from what I understand in talking with them and some other members of that fund, they are also experiencing increases in the excess market as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. That'll be next agenda.
Thank you, Melissa. Item number 5, consider agreement with Diversified Computer Services, L.L.C. for maintenance of fleet management inventory and service records for the Sheriff's Office and support services. Senior IT Manager Rodney Smith.
Good morning. This is one of our valued partners that we have that helps us with the fleet management, tracking the service records for the Sheriff's Office, and also the work order system for support services. So this is a new version. Currently, we've been paying $800 a month, and now the fee actually is going to decrease to $750, and I would highly recommend that we move forward with it.
You got this in your budget already.
Yes, sir.
Any questions for Rodney? Next agenda?
Thank you.
Item number 6, consider agreement with Page Freezer regarding social media archiving for public affairs. If there are any questions, Mr. Cody Clark, our Manager of Public Affairs, is on his way down.
Is this something we haven't done in the past that we're gonna start doing?
Yes.
That's correct, yes, sir. In accordance with the Alabama open records laws, obviously any of our press releases and things are considered public records, but also our social media posts and additional comments that citizens make, as I understand the law and as I've talked to Connie about it, are considered public record. And so if let's say a citizen makes a comment and deletes said comment, this software will help us capture that. So we have a record of that comment and that public record, should that person who has deleted said comment come back and ask us for that. And it is included in the budget, and it is among a few different people I talked to, the most cost-effective solution to execute this process that I could find. So,
Any questions?
This also works for the Facebook live stream and all.
yes, it pulls anything from our social media accounts That is Facebook, Instagram, our YouTube, live productions of these meetings, pulls all of those things in. So we have a record. They store it, cloud system. We have access to it unlimited amount of times to fulfill any requests we may get.
That'll be next agenda.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Cody. Item number 7, consider resolution to support current Alabama Simplified Seller Use Tax, SSUT, Remittance Act. As you all recall, last meeting, Sonny came, what's Sonny's last name?
Brasfield.
Sonny Brasfield, the head of ACCA, came and spoke to us and kind of gave us the gist of the SSUT for the state of Alabama, some challenges that are ongoing with it. And this resolution is a byproduct of rallying to encourage commissions to support the current Alabama SSUT.
Yeah, it's supportive of most, if not all, of the 67 counties. This is just a resolution saying we want to join that support.
So Doug, let me ask you a question. Do we need to waive rules and go ahead and move this now, or?
We could, I don't think it's critical. We could just do it next meeting.
Okay.
He hadn't asked for anything quick, has he?
No.
Nothing like that, so.
Okay.
Mr.
Unless
Chair,
y'all want to go ahead and we can take care of it today if y'all want to. or we
I
can-
wanted to ask a question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Regarding the seller simplified use taxes, we got a letter from the mayor of Tuscaloosa.
Yes,
and
sir.
he was talking about, how the counties might not be getting their fair share. Has anybody reached out to him to try to get a little bit further explanation as to how that might work, and does it disrupt our current system in a manner that would cause us not to want to pursue that route?
The simple answer is no, but I think that there have been, let me say it like this, we have not, at the Montgomery County Commission, have not reached out to him. I think the better question is, has there been a conversation between ACCA or maybe other county governments with Mayor Maddox about having that discussion of what that looks like, what his kind of plan, the way he'd like to reshape it. And I think Director Brasfield will have a lot more in-depth knowledge of, have those conversations been had? Have there been offshoot conversations that can kind of give a gist of his plan and why he feels like we're not getting our current fair share? So we can definitely reach out to Director Brasfield and see about, has a conversation been had? What was the gist? And if you like, we can always organize for potentially Mayor Maddox to, we can set up something via virtually, or maybe he's in town, we can set up something for him to come and talk to us.
I would like to know more about how, his perspective on it and so forth, because I know the current simplified seller use tax tend to benefit some of the smaller counties who don't necessarily pay into it the way the largest county or the largest cities do. But of course, Sonny Brasfield was able to get that pushed through the legislature, and supposedly it works, for everyone at this time. But I think if you take a closer look at it, you might find that the smaller populations tend to benefit or get a little bit more out of it than they put in. And I'm not suggesting that that's wrong. I'm just simply saying it might be, worthwhile to take a look at it.
Yes, sir.
I must have missed that letter, did you? I didn't see that. Did I miss the letter somehow from,
I know Commissioner Sankey received one,
I did not receive
but
it.
I'm not sure.
I didn't receive one.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So-
I was asked by the County Commission Association, and a few county commission chairmen received it, some didn't.
Okay.
I was one that did not receive it.
I think we owe it to the population here in Montgomery who maybe has not been following this as closely. The SSUT fight is that, it's a fight. And for the last 20 years, Montgomery County, along with all 67 counties, have been receiving, I say 20 years, it's less than that, since it started in the last 20 years. Montgomery County's received something like $140 million. Do not quote that exact. I mean, it's a significant amount of tax that has been collected from online sales. And while the formula may not be exact or perfect, without it, we would have received none of that. And the revenue commissioner, the state revenue commissioner, met us at the state convention for county commission the ACCA state convention. And we spent an hour and a half hearing the state's perspective. And so while we haven't heard specifically maybe from the mayor of Tuscaloosa, you know, they're currently suing the state. And so the state's perspective on that, I think, is valuable to us, which we got, we received that, you know, like I said, over an hour and a half of listening to what we have at stake, what is at risk. And so I think we have to be very careful to disrupt SSUT as it stands. There may be an opportunity to increase the amount, but that would have to be done, in my opinion, on top of the current system. If we try to disrupt SSUT as it stands, we stand to lose all because of, and this gets in the weeds a little bit, but because of the undue burden that it places on the vendors. Take Amazon, for instance. If they had to, or any other online sales vendor had to distribute taxes based on zip code or household or by sale, they would not be able to do that. And the federal law that was passed says that it has to be doable. It has to be something that does not provide an undue burden. And so I fear that we risk, if we push too hard, I fear that we risk losing those $100+ millions of dollars that we've gotten in the last decade from SSUT. And so we do need to be very careful. That is my personal opinion, based on the hours of information that we've gathered, not just from Sonny Brassfield, who obviously has you know, his motivation is to protect all 67 counties. But my take on it is that it is a very dangerous position for us to be in, to challenge SSUT as it stands.
No, I concur with that, Commissioner. However, I was just concerned about whether or not we really had taken a serious look at a different approach, and not to disrupt what we currently have in place, but I think it's the Big Ten mayors who are really pushing for another methodology for how we figure this out, because they're saying we got these large populations, we spending plenty of money on internet sales, and we don't seem to be getting out of a fair share according to the current formula. So I certainly concur. We certainly risk losing all of it if we try to pick at it too much. But
yeah,
I think it's worth a little bit further discussion.
Yeah, the Big Ten mayors, they want a piece of what we're getting. That's the bottom line. So.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, open to waiving rules today, or y'all want to put on next agenda? I'll leave that up to the commission.
I would prefer to put it on the next
Let's
agenda.
put it on the
Next
next
agenda.
agenda. I'd like to get, if you can forward, Commissioner
Yeah.
Saint, forward that email you received.
Yes, ma'am. It was a letter, actually.
It's a letter
Came in the
for you?
U.S. Postal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be happy. I don't know why they single me out. I'm a little, it makes me nervous.
Well, they knew you were the man with the master plan. That's why they came for you.
Item number 8, consider amendment number 1 to contract with Hills Janitorial Service Incorporated to provide carpet cleaning service at the Phelps Price Justice Center. This is an amendment. Nothing goes up. All pricing and provisions of the contract will remain the same. Are there any questions?
Next agenda.
Item number 9, consider an addendum to the Parks and Recreation Plan Agreement. Virginia.
Good morning. I generally don't answer questions before I'm asked, but this was needed because we have in our current agreement, it was supposed to be a 9-month, this is roughly a 9 to 12-month project that we engaged with GMC. And since the time we received this grant, we have been awarded another grant. And the rules of the funder is that you can't have 2 open grant agreements. So we work with Connie, our county attorney, to include a clawback clause where we will pay in advance some of the fees that we know will be incurred with the Parks and Rec plan that we're doing, just to ensure that if something happens, we can get our money back. And then we are free to sign the agreement for a new grant of $750,000 for much-needed swiftwater rescue training at Montgomery Whitewater for first responders, not just here, but around the state, who needs that training. I think we all remember the tragedy that happened in Texas. And so this would get us an opportunity where they will have a place to practice, an affordable place to come and practice that needed training in their community.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Do we have, I think I asked for a list of possible projects that these funds could be spent on, because I want to make sure some of the smaller underserved communities might, if they could benefit from some of these funds, that we don't give it all to the
You asked who for a list?
This was a while, but he did ask us for a list. This was some time ago. We'll get you one.
Thank you.
And let's schedule some time to sit down and we can go over it and see what we can, because I think that window is open now. So let's see if we can schedule some time, either remainder of this week or early next week, and we'll sit down as a team. Derek will be back in the office and we can sit down and talk about any ideas that come to fruition about what we want to do. So that's a great idea,
Well,
Commissioner
these
Saint.
Thank you, sir.
Innovate Alabama
Yes.
grants are specific to a project, correct?
Yes, they are specific to a
Yeah, I mean,
project.
it's not just, okay, we're gonna give you the money and y'all, I mean, it has to
No,
be-
you have to submit a proposal that is specific to the project, and you, unless something were to wildly change, it would have to particularly stay with either that project or with that purpose. So, and they are very structured in the way they can be,
Just wanted to know what projects in particular, Mr. Chairman.
what purposes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That'd be next agenda.
And just to be clear, all this is doing is it's allowing us to prepay Go Mills for the project that's been approved, so
Yes.
that we can close that out and move forward with the next grant.
Correct.
Okay.
Item number 10, consider amendment of Montgomery County Personnel Rules, Policies, and Procedures. On last meeting, we were ready to go with the human resources piece of the personnel policies and procedures, and like I said, at a later date, we'll bring you the whole document. Connie and Janet with HRM did a fantastic job of getting the whole document ready. So here it is. What we will do is, to make this a lot easier, we will get a summary of what those specific changes are, so that you won't have to go searching from one version to another, and we will get that to you in the next couple of days.
All right. That'd be next agenda.
Item number 11, consider a sublease agreement between Alabama Department of Public Health and Montgomery County Public Schools. This is, of course, the any sublease that occurs at the Alabama Department of Public Health has to be agreed upon by the commission. And because Montgomery Public Schools is going to render nursing service at the Alabama Department of Health, we are required to approve the sublease.
This is something we've done in the past, so that's.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? That'd be next agenda.
Item number 12, consider owner-architect agreement with Lathan McKee Architects for exterior renovation of former Partners and Parole Building, 350 Adams Avenue. This was something that we brought up as it relate to the FY 2026 budget, getting this building that we own back online, and there's some exterior work that needs to be done. And Lathan McKee is the architect for this project.
And it's in the budget, so.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? That'd be next agenda.
Item number 13, Jackson Hospital funding discussion. This has been something that has been discussed for a long time. There's a current, ask for the county and the city to come together to provide $25 million, and that the state will potentially provide the remainder there. But this, clause is contingent on all three parties contributing towards this. If one of the parties backs out, all of the parties are out. So there's language that we are waiting on from, the city has a resolution they will vote on this evening. We will reach out to make sure we get that language so we can share that with the commission.
Are we okay if we go ahead and, once we get that language and get the resolution and put it on our next agenda, so we can go ahead and make a decision about Jackson Hospital?
Well,
We already know, we know, Commissioner, that you go on, come on.
no, I'm a healthcare provider, so I certainly understand the need of quality, affordable healthcare in terms of maintaining doctors, nurses, ancillary healthcare personnel, facilities that provide state-of-the-art healthcare. But I was going back, Commissioner Ziegler, I was actually going back to what one of the consultants told us. They wanted $50 million in grant money. and another $100 million they want somebody to guarantee a loan. And Mr. Jackson said that, correct me if I'm wrong, I may have misunderstood, unless we get the entire $150 million, there was no need to move forward because he could not foresee anything happening at less than $150 million in funding. Now, did I misunderstand that?
Well, you know, Doug, I'm gonna have to let Doug expand a little bit on that because he's met with Mr. Jackson numerous times more than I have, and I think any of us have at the county commission.
Yeah, the information that I've received from the different parties is that the 25 million investment from city and county local would be somehow matched by the state, and so 50 million would go into an escrow account that would not be used until bankruptcy, everything is settled out. So that's 10 from the county, 15 from the state, 15 from the city is the ask from local to be matched somehow with the state, and I don't have the exact numbers from the state because that would be up to the state to make that decision. So that would get you to the 50 million. The total number that needs to be obtained is 150 million. That includes about 103 million in deferred maintenance projects that have to be done, chillers, boilers, plumbing, elevators, parking deck, stuff that has not been addressed in the past few years that needs to be addressed because it's going to come up. There's no need to probably put more money into the entity unless these things are going to be addressed, because those are things that could actually shut the hospital down the road anyway. The chillers go out and you can't chill the building. Boilers go out and you can't heat water, so forth and so on. So the numbers, the ask from Jackson Healthcare to come in and manage and operate the hospital is, again, 10 million from the county, 15 from the city. The state could be anywhere from 25 to 50, 60 million, depending on the state, whatever they want to do. Could be zero, but that would be up to the state. And then Jackson Healthcare would be willing, if the city, county, state, federal government entities can come up to the $100 million number, they would be willing to put the other 50 million into it. And that's kind of what the last information that I had received. So again, it's all or nothing kind of, everybody has to be together or everybody has to not be together, whichever way the commission decides and the city decides. But the state probably is not going to act until
We make the decision.
Yeah, so whatever the decision of the council is.
No, Mr. Chairman, of course, you say they're not going to act until we act. Now, does that mean just approving a resolution saying we're committed to X
Yes,
dollars?
that's it.
That mean writing a check and giving it to Jackson?
No, there would be no check written, given to Jackson till everything is worked out through the attorneys and all the agreements are put in place. Naturally, the county commission and city would not agree to give cash or something until we have all the requirements in there that we want in there on how the money will be used, when it'll be used. And again, even after the money is placed, if the money was, a check was written, the check would go into an escrow account until all these entities are on board and all the process through bankruptcy has been done. And then it would not come out of escrow without commission's approval. And again, I can only give information. I've got a conflict of interest. My middle daughter is a registered nurse at Jackson Hospital. She's one of 2,200 employees there. So I took the steps of going through my county attorney. She made a recommendation, and I asked for the Ethics Commission to give me a formal opinion. And the formal opinion was I was highly discouraged from voting. I need to abstain on this vote going forward. So I can provide information for you, but I can't encourage you or discourage you either way, so.
Another little point of clarification. If there's anything I've learned from East Probate is that you can talk about something for 5 years and then the community has no idea what's going on. And so on this point, there are some things that are happening behind the scenes that I think maybe we assume the public understands. And you hear Jackson, there is a private entity led by a man named Rick Jackson, zero correlation to Jackson Hospital. So keep that in mind. So when we talk about paying Jackson, it's Jackson Healthcare, not Jackson Hospital. Those are separate things. And what has taken place over the last couple months is that this entire body, and then last week, representatives from the city council were also able to meet with their contingent. They sat here in this office in the last month with members from both senators' offices, city, county, and then Governor Ivey's office as well. And the proposal is that Jackson Hospital survives or it doesn't. That's really what this comes down to. And if there is anybody who thinks that a member of this commission wants to spend taxpayer dollars on a private entity, then you're mistaken. We've been put in a situation where we're cleaning up somebody else's mess at the risk of damaging our city, the healthcare infrastructure, and this is a pretty non-negotiable situation that we found ourselves in. And so what we have to do is we have to consult the experts, because guess what? Believe it or not, regardless of what we said in our campaign, we are not the expert on everything. But we do have to be smart enough to ask those people their opinions. And so when we sat in that room, and Rick Jackson and his company said, look, you find a better option and we'll help you. He personally, their company is the company that's responsible for the $25 million DIP loan. He could at any point call for that back, take his $25 million out of Montgomery and walk away. He hasn't done it yet. We have to be encouraged by that. If there is anybody in this town that thinks that closing Jackson Hospital is good for the town, the city, and even Baptist at the end of the day, who cannot contain what needs to happen in healthcare if we lose Jackson Hospital, then you don't understand.
That's true.
Period. This is incredibly disappointing. This is an incredible situation that we found ourselves in. Now, when you're faced with that situation, you got to make some incredible steps. I would ask the county commission to take the first step. I would ask the county commission to step boldly where none of us want to go, because this is unfortunate. And frankly, whoever got us into this situation at Jackson Hospital, we could not be more disappointed. Montgomery is about to be in a situation because of mismanagement, because of fiscal irresponsibility, and the facility that you mentioned, the $103 million, over the last 10 years, Jackson Hospital has not funneled any money into infrastructure. And you know that means that the building will fail, the systems will fail, and more importantly, what it means is, because those buildings have been grandfathered in, and this is not information that I know, this is information I've been told, because those buildings have been grandfathered in, if Jackson Hospital closes one day, every single one of those buildings are basically condemned, because they are currently allowed to continue to operate. But once that operation ceases, those buildings are useless. Every boiler, every electrical system, the entire infrastructure, not to mention the parking deck, has to be upgraded, basically replaced. So it's not, well, let Jackson close because of their own misgivings, and somebody else will come in after it closes. That's not an option. They'd have to raise the entire property. So the incredibly disappointing situation that we find ourselves in is going to cost the taxpayers in Montgomery County $10 million if we get 3 votes. But what it's going to do is it's going to provide an unnecessary assistance to make sure that health care survives, period.
Tough choice.
It is terrible. And I'm heartbroken for Baptist, who sits on the sideline and watches at their own success money go to their competitor. Not that they even necessarily see each other as a competitor, but Baptist has to watch us bail out Jackson and say, well, look, we're doing it right. We're doing it well. That's tough. It makes it really hard on us to operate. And so all of those things need to be said publicly. All of those things need to be understood, that this is not a situation that we are taking lightly or that we're making a one-time decision on. 200 entities were proposed the purchase of Jackson Hospital, 200 nationwide. We were told that 2 were either interested or checked it out. 1 has the ability out of 200. So if we think, because look, I got social media too. If we think that, somebody will come in and buy it, no, they will not. And it is not worth the risk. It is not worth us sitting here and hoping that something will change. We're decades into this. And so this is the opportunity that we have, and it is incredibly disappointing. Incredibly disappointing.
It definitely is. It's a hard choice to make. I think I talked to someone last week when I was in a conference, and they said to me, I imagine that's a double-edged sword for you guys. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, you know, you have so much going on, and what you guys got to do with education and help people out with the education in the school system. But what good do you help James out with the education if his mother can't drive him to school the next day because she didn't receive the proper health care? And I'm thinking to myself, I never thought of it like that. What happens to that young man or that young girl when their mother or father couldn't get into a hospital here in Montgomery? It's a double-edged sword. It's not an easy one. It's not, and I echo what you just said, Commissioner Costanza. It's not a situation none of us should have been put in, unfortunately. But we must move on and we must make a decision. And that's why I ask if we could go ahead and put this on the next, move to the next agenda, so that we can make this decision.
And if you've been on social media in the last 3 days, you've seen the statement that there's a vacuum of leadership in Montgomery. I'm not interested in talking about that. I'm interested in filling the vacuum. So let the Montgomery County Commission fill the vacuum. Let the Montgomery County Commission be the ones who say, hey, we're committed to this. City, we need your help. State, you have our help. That's the only way it's going to work. And too often we wait for the other person to go first. So let's go first.
All right, Commissioner, let's go first. But I think it's worth mentioning that Mr. Rick Jackson is a businessman.
Which means he doesn't want to lose any more money.
That's my point.
Which means it can work. And I wish y'all got to sit in that 2-hour meeting.
Yeah.
You'd write a check yourself right
Yes,
now.
sir.
He's so impressive.
And that's the point that I'm making. He's a businessman. He don't want to lose any money. And I think it's worth mentioning that he's getting 14% interest on his $20 million. So just wanted to put that out.
I got you, but what do you do? Now I want you to
don't-
tell me,
the
Commissioner,
hospital-
we're sitting here today.
the hospital's
Let's have a
not gonna close.
conversation. Let's have an honest conversation. It's gonna close now.
No, 10 million, I'm certainly not against that. As the chairman has already assured me that we're not going to write a check unless everybody's on board. So I'm
Right.
happy with that.
Yeah, I was about to say, because, you and I both serve in impoverished districts, so what do we tell our people in district? What do we tell our senior citizens when they can't go to Jackson Hospital? What we tell them?
It's not going,
Yeah,
it's not,
But
it's
we
not going
can't
to.
tell them.
I can address just a couple of the comments that was made. The 14% interest on a DIP loan that was made back in February by the Jackson Healthcare, yes, that's a high amount, but when nobody was going to give Jackson Healthcare any money, I would not, if I had those means, I would not have loaned them the money at the time, even at 18%. So that number, Rick Jackson has said that number on the DIP loan will go down. He will change that and reduce that 14% down closer to what prime is. And he's also putting more money into Jackson Hospital this month because the cash flow came out yesterday. I have not gotten it yet, but the cash flow before that showed that about $2 million was in the account for operating costs at the start of October. They forecasted about a $5 or $6 million deficit by the end of October. So he's going to extend his DIP loan, not call it, but also put more into the hospital. The hospital will remain a nonprofit. nothing would change as far as the Jackson Healthcare Authority. It would just be a new board and a new entity that would be managing. Jackson Healthcare will not own the hospital. Legally, Rick Jackson, since it's a nonprofit, legally cannot make money off the hospital. That's against the law to do that. But his group will manage it, and they will get a fee for managing it, like you would expect. They feel like they can save $1.5 million the first month that they're in there. It's the information that I've been provided. So again, it remains a nonprofit, remains the same entity that we have there now would remain, and that would not change. And Justin is correct. If it closes, the situation with trying to, if it closed and or Rick Jackson's group said, okay, we're going to make it a for-profit hospital, it'd probably be another 40 to 50, 60 million on code upgrades just to do that. So again, that's just some information for y'all to have as you make your decision.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Last two scheduled attendees, probate judge J.C. Love.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We had a few items that we wanted to put on the agenda. One of the first we wanted to discuss were some other bills that we wanted to seek your approval on for the legislative agenda. One of the first ones was authorization to utilize a credit card for limited purchases. This bill kind of tracks the one that the Sheriff's Department has that would allow us at times when we needed it to be able to have a credit card for our restricted accounts and be able to make purchases rather than maybe, for events such as the parades or the Sheriff's Halloween Spooktacular, to be able to have some flexibility to go out there and make those purchases without having to necessarily deal with a purchase order. But the same, process and procedures that the county follows for how those, credit cards would be handled would also be followed.
JJ, that was on last year's too, wasn't it? Didn't we put that on last year's?
I think the sheriff, that's probably when the sheriff had, this is something that we were looking, we had talked about it, putting it on there, but we never had the bill to formally present.
So this bill would mirror what the sheriff already has approved?
Yes.
Okay, and limitations on the card, on how much you can charge and all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Second one was an authorization to conduct fundraising activities, and this also tracks a bill that the Sheriff Department has had approved by the commission and passed by the legislature that allowed him to engage in fundraising activities, to have funds that he could use outside of those funds that may be in any special restricted accounts or money that's provided from the county commission. For us, that one of the things we've really done is really have stepped up our engagement efforts out there in the community, particularly around trying to promote our REACT program, trying to spread the word about citizens, having a proper estate plan, and, guardianships and surrogatships. And so this would allow us to be able to fund those priorities without having to need money from the commission or be overly reliant on restricted accounts that we have. The third bill was for a fee for performing the marriage ceremonies. This is something that was brought to our attention during our routine audit, that there wasn't legislation in place for the $25 fee that we had that had been charged, I think, back since Judge McKinney was probate judge, to perform the marriage ceremonies. And so we were just looking for this bill in order to be able to reinstitute this fee for the marriage ceremonies. This tracks a bill that Etowah County has, and the final one was a bill regarding the safekeeping and the confidentiality of filing wills. One of the things we've seen on the courthouse side has been an increase of people who have lost their wills. The will you need to go ahead and have to present an original. And oftentimes with wills, people will sometimes do, women may not see them, put them up, and not touch them again for sometimes 20, 30 years, particularly if they've just had it very simple and just said everything to my kids in equal shares or my spouse and kids in equal shares. And we've seen an increase with people being unable to file those wills. And so this would allow them to be able to file and record it, and we'd have a procedure in place about how that is handled. But it would allow us to put people in a better position to have their last wishes respected, because when there's not a will that can be produced, then you have to go and file an administration. And then the wills of intestacy apply that may be contrary with what that person's wishes were and how they wanted their assets to be distributed. And so those are the bills, in addition to what we had regarding the pay bill that was approved last year, but was not passed during last year's legislative session. So we just wanted to get your approval on those so that we could go ahead and also give them to the legislative delegation for support. All right, the second thing that we had is that we wanted to seek the approval on a contract that we had with, it was ITI, now it is NUMO. This is something that we've been working on for most of the past 5 years, having to go to the legislature to get a bill passed in order to utilize these. And I think it's something that's really timely now that we are faced with having to close our busiest and largest office in order to continue to provide services to those areas as well as residents in the other parts of the county. Now, these kiosks are something that are in about 42 different states. We're kind of coming to it late. If anyone's ever been over to go to Atlanta, Fulton County, go to the Kroger grocery stores, and there are kiosks there that will process your automobile tag renewals. So these will be placed initially in the Publix grocery stores. I think the research that we had that it makes them accessible to about 95% of the population with less than a 20-minute drive. The other, then they have also agreed that because when we're looking at, West Montgomery to work with, try to get them into Meat City, and then in around the South Lawn area, over in that Winn-Dixie now that is not going to be a part of Aldi. That was, part of, some of the discussions earlier with that. But we were trying to, have something that is going to be accessible to everyone. And so at these kiosks, you would take your renewal letter, scan it in, or put in your Alabama driver's license number, and once you pay, it's going to print out your renewal stickers at that kiosk, which you would take, and then you would go and put them on your vehicle. Like I said, with our East office being down, there are 3 Publixes in that area, Pike Road, Atlanta Highway, then in that Dalrata area, to be able to serve those people who are going to be affected, at least initially, by the closure of this East office. But you also have them on Zelda Road, on Vaughn Road. And so the other part is that we've also talked with the LEA, and so LEA is familiar with these kiosks, and so their intention is that once we get past this first phase of the renewal stickers, being able to also allow residents to be able to renew their driver's licenses on these kiosks as well. And so Connie's worked for a couple of months to be able to get the contract in order and just seek your approval for that. And the third thing was that wanted to really encourage the commission to work expeditiously to finalize plans for an East office. And I stood back here in March, that one of the things that I really said that, we first were presented with a potential location is, where we are now, that, that may be the best alternative we have, and I'd prefer that since that's our largest and busiest office, that it wouldn't have to close. And so unfortunately, we haven't determined a location for this office, and so we've got to close it on the 17th, and that's unfortunate. Our employees there are going to be reassigned to our other offices. But now we have section of the county that services probably the largest number of residents that's going to be without an office. And I know, you all have probably seen some of the comments from the residents who are being affected and that, how unhappy they are, and just wanted to just encourage you all to really work hard as soon as possible so that we at least have a plan on getting this office back up as quickly as possible.
All right, number 1, legislative agenda stuff, can you get that? Kendall, do you have that already, so we can
Yes.
put that on next agenda?
Send me a digital version so we can split them up and get them as individual items.
All right.
Number 2, the kiosk, I think we've addressed this before, about the kiosk.
Yeah, we
and all.
discussed it last year.
Yeah, and, so that's something that we, has everybody got enough information on that? Are y'all familiar with that, everybody?
I remember from.
Okay.
Judge, you said this is a different company.
No, they changed names. They
Okay,
went from
changed
ITI
name.
Intellectual Technology Inc. to NUMO.
Can you
Okay.
give us the new costs and all, the request from the commission, is that?
It's still,
that's
it's in the
changed or
contract.
anything?
No, it hasn't changed
Okay.
anything.
All right, we can look at doing that next agenda too, if we want to look at that. Number 3, did you get my email about meeting after this meeting?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay,
And
we'll
just my
address
concern
the
is,
probate office after this meeting, and you and I.
and Janet's here as well.
Janet's
Actually,
here?
She was here.
Okay.
There she is right now.
Well, good,
Yeah.
good.
We have
So
the
we'll
revenue
sit down.
commissioner here.
Immediately when we finish.
Can I come to that too?
Oh, yeah, it's just gonna be information, purposes only, so you're
Yeah,
welcome to come.
well, I'd like to be there.
Especially with
Judge
being-
and I took it on the chin on social media like we didn't know this was happening.
Yeah.
And, I mean, predates me by years.
Yeah, predates both of us.
And so I share the public's concern that this hasn't been taken care of. I do want to say that, we've been looking, I've been pushing to keep it in District 3, been pushing to keep it on the Atlanta Highway Corridor, and been pushing to not build a new building. I don't know if y'all have heard, but there's a lot of use for our money right now, and we don't need to waste it on a new construction. We've got open opportunities to fill down Atlanta Highway. Now, the good news is that most of the services that you can walk in and receive at any probate office, 3 are still open around the city, including right here downtown, on McGee Road, out on
Mobile
Mobile Highway. But you can also do all those, a lot of those services online. And I know that's not the way I like to necessarily do business either, but we can all get better at that if we need to. And know that we're working to open something as soon as possible. Even the chairman sent some messaging earlier this week about maybe there's even an opportunity to do a temporary satellite in the east while the build-out continues. So it's not something that surprised us, like the Facebook thread may make you think, but we
We're gonna
want to do
meet
it.
Justin right after it's over, and
I'd like to
I
be
was
there.
gonna invite you to be there, because this is your district, so.
All right, and I just say, if we're looking at a temporary location, my concern is, I just want to make sure if we're going to do temporary, that we also have a permanent plan in place.
Yes, and we're gonna discuss
Because
that.
I don't want to, temporary location become permanent, because as you said, there are demands on money, and so if we kick the can down the road 2 years, I don't want to come back before us, and then, well, Jackson, we just took care of Jackson, we had Whitewater, and so, we can, keep you there another year, another 2 years, and then we'll come back and revisit it. And so, just want to make sure that if we're going temporary, that we're going to make sure that it's fit for our operations as well as for revenue. And it's not going to look like a completely temporary office, like, some of these places that shut up for the season. So we want to make sure that it looks consistent, but also satisfies our operations, and don't want to necessarily be stuck in a place that it was a quick, place to put in to get you all back up and operational, but, it ends up becoming a permanent location, unfortunately.
And that's why I'm having a meeting after this.
All right,
so
that's
we have
fine, that's what I said, I just
questions.
want to go up there and just put that on the record.
Kendall, we're running a little bit behind. Do you want to do Dr. Stewart now, or do her first of the next meeting? What y'all want to do?
That's your pleasure,
Dr.
Chairman.
Stewart, how long, you won't be long, would you? No. Okay, come on, let's go ahead, that way you ain't got to keep waiting.
I want to thank you for this meeting and the opportunity to just say to all of you, I'm standing here to offer a service that I've been thinking about for years. And that service is to help persons become validated in arts and entertainment. Arts and Entertainment Initiative is to train people so that when productions, films, projects come through the state of Alabama, we will have people trained for the infrastructure. We don't have that kind of training, and I really believe that had some of these young people had a camera in their hand on Saturday, they would have been shooting a video rather than a gun. And it bothered me so much that I did not come forward like 3 years ago when I mentioned, I said, I'm gonna bring something before you, but I'm not quite ready yet. And I think I should have been ready. Maybe some lives would have been saved. When the sheriff mentioned the opportunities that he needed help in getting the word out about drugs and this kind of thing, these young people, not just young people, they can be adults as well, who've been trying to get into this industry, could make commercials and do these things in kind for the community, for the Tri-River region, because they're now trained, and that training would give them the opportunity to get a license when the unions require them to have it. So that's why I'm here, and I'm asking for support to hire the staff to do the work. I've made contact with technicians in Los Angeles, Georgia, Louisiana, and now that the fires have happened, a lot of people are moving this way, and some of them are even our own people. One name, a hairstylist who worked with a lot of big shows, has moved back to Montgomery, and he's saying to me, let's work together. I want to train somebody because I'm going to retire. And I said, well, I have retired, but I can't retire from my young people, because when we lost my student, in national television talked about it, I just haven't been able to rest in knowing that they don't have to leave home to become recognized. They don't have to run from the state of Alabama to find their talent. They can find it right here. And I ask you to please finance this project that I've submitted to you so that we could work with all of our children, all of our people who bought equipment and trying to shoot weddings and stuff. They need to know how to do it so that they can satisfy that thirst and that desire. Each one of you had someone to do your artwork and your publicity campaigns when you were running for office. That's arts and entertainment. To just pat a person on the back and leave them to go work at a cafe somewhere until they can get another job is not what we want to do. That's why I'm here, and I'm offering myself to do that and lead that initiative, that one day, my ultimate goal is that the Montgomery Mall will become the first studio, television studio, in the state of Alabama. So
Dr. Stewart, what's your ask? What's your ask today?
Y'all receive that? I don't.
Yeah,
Kendall, do
it
you
was
remember
given
seeing
up. It's, I think my proposal asked for $70,000.
Okay.
We did. Make sure Kendall gets that. I don't remember seeing that. I would have remembered that one, I think.
You may have gotten it yesterday or,
Okay.
It should have been a week
Was it
ago.
emailed out or?
no, you got a physical letter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll have to look
Do
at
you-
that
do
then.
you need
Probably
my-
sitting on the desk, but,
You need
okay.
my copy here?
No, ma'am, if you send it over, we're good.
And I gave you a brochure that was started 4 years ago, and the names of the different people helping. It's spreading with a strong group that's saying, we're gonna work to help finance renovating that mall, so we'll have our studio. In the meantime, right away, we'd like to start training.
Well, Dr. Stewart, you know you have my support.
Yeah.
In this. And so, let's sit down, you and I talk, and talk some more, and I'll pledge some money to you. Let's sit down and have another, I think we talked the other day on the phone, so let's sit down and talk some more, and I'll look at my, money, and I'll pledge some money to you. You know
Thank
have
you
my
so much.
support.
And Brother Sankey, thank you so much. You call and offer support, I appreciate it.
Look.
And I'm sure, Doug, you're gonna help, all of you, I know you are.
Yeah,
Yes.
don't
you
count,
know-
don't count me out.
That's what
I'll match Isaiah, whatever he gives you, I'll give you
All
that
right,
too.
doctor, we got you.
All right.
Well, then, there we go. I matched the two of them, so you got it. So, you know,
And that's a
I got
miracle.
a few more years left, and I really am dedicated to setting that precedence. This county, this state
Yes.
rests on the shoulders of Montgomery.
Well, Dr.
you, Dr.
Stewart,
Stewart.
you're more than qualified to do what you're trying to do. Do you, just 1 second, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman,
go ahead,
please.
please.
Do you have any idea if you're up and running, you know, with all your connections, you know, in Hollywood and various places and all the work that you've done, do you have any idea what the economic impact might be if we
It's in that
had?
brochure,
You have all that.
right there.
Thank you, thank you.
It's a big economic impact.
Second, third page. It's in
Millions.
there. Just saw it.
Thank you.
Does anybody need to take a break, or can we just go on to the formal session?
Doug, we'll go on to the formal session since you
I need,
twisted my
I
hand.
need a break.
Okay,
Oh,
I
no,
need-
somebody
I'm
need
gonna
to
raise
turn
my
it.
hand. I need.
All right, real quick, we'll take about a 2 or 3 minute break. And so